hello, Katie.
Hi.
Um, Glad to see you.
Thank you.
Can you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name's Kathy. I live in Ireland, and I'm from Dublin, which is the capital of Ireland.
Okay, so we can start. First, my typical question: in which year is Ireland appeared?
So it's recorded roughly as starting about 10,000 years ago. So in 4000 BC, the first farming was recorded. So farming is how the country started, and still agriculture is really a key part of our economy.
Okay. Uh, Next, it will be three fast questions, and I will wait for three fast replies. Okay.
Okay.
What is the currency in Ireland?
We use the euro.
Okay. What is the capital in Ireland?
Where I live, Dublin.
Oh, deal. What is the native language in Ireland?
The native language is Irish, but we currently speak English.
Okay. How many people still can speak Irish?
That's a tough question. So everybody in school learns Irish, but by the time people enter their 20s, usually they've forgotten a lot. But there's still areas in the west and in the north of Ireland where there's communities and they speak through Irish all the time, but they would also know English as well.
Okay, I guess every person in Ireland knows English, yes?
Yes, yeah, one would, yeah.
It's like a second native language.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. What is the traffic in Ireland for cars? I mean, right side or left side?
So we drive on the left-hand side, same as in England.
Okay. Do you know maybe sometimes happen when foreign people rent a car and try to drive on the right side?
I haven't seen it myself. What I would see here when we have tourists coming and they rent cars, we have a lot of one-way streets because a lot of streets are so small, and sometimes they will drive in the opposite direction. So you're only allowed to drive one direction and they'll drive in the opposite direction.
Oh, it's happening, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. How often do you have snow?
Very, very rarely. This year, as in most of Europe, we did have really, really heavy snow and we are not prepared for it at all. For example, after 1 week in the shops, there is no milk left. So when it does snow, we're just not ready for it. The last time there was that heaviest snow was 40 years ago.
Okay. Have you ever been? Yeah. Have you ever built a snowman?
Yes, twice.
Twice in your life. Oh, it's okay. Next question. Tell us about holidays, especially about Halloween. I hear that it's a little bit different than in English or USA and European countries.
Yeah, it wouldn't really be so much that it's different, but the origins of Halloween are obviously different to what they are now. So Halloween, as we know it now, that's celebrated in America or in other parts of Europe, would have originated in the Celtic Samhain Festival. So it would have similar origins to Mexican holiday, Dia de los Muertos. So basically we're celebrating the dead, and our Halloween will be celebrating the end of the harvest season. So basically saying goodbye to autumn and hello to winter. And obviously it's developed now into less of a celebration of the dead and more being scared of them.
Okay, tell us about traditions during the Christmas.
Christmas would definitely be our biggest holiday of all. So Halloween is on the 31st of October, Once that's finished on the 1st of November, Christmas has already started. So when the shops, they'll have their Christmas decorations up already, everyone will start buying. A lot of our traditional dishes around Christmas, for example, Christmas pudding, Christmas cake, the ingredients, the dried fruit have to be soaked in alcohol for a long time. So people would start preparing that around November. So basically we start preparing all of our food, all of our presents in November. We start meeting our families, and then we have a big day on December 25th, and it's the one day of the year when most shops will be closed.
Okay. How much alcohol do people drink in Ireland?
I couldn't put a definite figure on that, but we do have a reputation for drinking more than most. At social occasions, definitely. Say if you got together after work or for a birthday, if somebody wasn't drinking alcohol, they'd kind of be considered a bit strange. People would question them, why aren't you drinking alcohol? And then I suppose what differentiates us from other cultures in terms of funerals, once the mass is finished, the religious part of the funeral is over, everyone drinks and they celebrate the life of the person. So I think alcohol is kind of like a main component of all of our celebrations, whether they're happy or they're sad.
Yeah, I agree. Is it true that every Irish person can drink at least 5 liters of beer?
At one go, I don't know the exact figure. I would say probably it is in our blood to drink that much, maybe even 2 liters of whiskey at once.
In which age in Ireland a man can start drink alcohol, can start buy alcohol? From what age?
So the legal age is 18. Yeah.
But if someone just around 15 years, where he can find alcohol?
Very easily. So we do have a well-known tradition. Sometimes kids after school, they will kind of gather close to the nearest off license, the place that sells alcohol, and they'll try and find someone to buy it for them and pay them an extra $5 or something. Yeah, same with cigarettes.
Oh. What do you know about Holy Patrician? Holy Patrick, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, St. Patrick. Okay, yeah. So St. Patrick is the native saint of Ireland, and we celebrate him every year on the 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day. So obviously in a lot of different countries, they've also adopted that festival. I know in certain parts of America, they even dye their rivers green in our honour. So basically today it's known as a day for drinking, having a parade in the city centre. St. Patrick himself, the legend is that he got rid of all snakes in Ireland. So before we had snakes, and the legend is that he had a magic staff and he used that to kill all the snakes.
I guess there are no any snakes in Ireland. No?
No.
Okay.
No.
Maybe it's a question for kids. How many people in Ireland believe in fairies?
Nowadays, no one, but before it would have been very common. A lot of our fairy tales and stories would center around magical creatures, either fairy, leprechaun, one creature called a banshee, which is a kind of a scary fairy. And before, people used these stories to explain things they didn't understand when there was a lower level of education. So people would have believed in them. For example, the story of the banshee, the sound of a fox. When a fox makes a noise, it sounds kind of like a person screeching. So when people heard this in the woods, they'd explain it as a fairy called the banshee who was coming to take their children. Even though it was something that was easily explainable, they'd kind of make a story around it.
So my last question, tell us about special traditions in Ireland. What you haven't never seen in other countries.
So probably, I think weddings would be a good example of traditions that we have specifically. So at some stage in the wedding, they'll always play the theme tune from Riverdance, and people will get up and start trying to do Irish dancing. So yeah, I suppose. Also, we are very good at seeing the bright side of things. We have a good sense of humour, usually a very dark sense of humour. So even when there's a very difficult situation or something's very serious, we'll always find a way to lighten the mood. Also, we do have a good reputation amongst tourists for being a very welcoming country. And I do think that the Irish are very welcoming. We have a particularly bad habit of always trying to help people, even if we don't know how to. For example, if someone asks me for directions and I don't know where to send them, I try to explain, even though I don't know the answer.
Okay, Katie, thank you for conversation. It was really cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's make a short review of this beautiful country as Ireland. As we have learned, Ireland was appeared 10,000 years ago, and its time agricultural was first work what people did, and it's still keeping do. Oh ho! Currently in Ireland is Euro. And who adopted? The capital is Dublin. The native language is Irish, but people know two languages, and of course it is English, the second language for Irish people. The traffic for cars is left side, the same in England, but people sometimes confuse sides. Or I would see what would happen with people in Russia for the same things. How often do you see total eclipse of the moon? The same often you see snow in Ireland. Ireland is a homeland of Halloween, and it was adopted from the Celtic festival, which is Samhain, means Eve of November. The original festival are similar to the Mexican Dia de los Muertos. Have you heard about Saint Patrick? I think most of you yes, but not every man knows who is he. He is a real good man. The two most popular legends associated with Patrick's name are that he brought writing to Ireland and that he drew out all the snakes. And finally, Irish people are very welcome. Everyone has to know it.